Hello, welcome to PhyzQuest. This is the solution video for CSIR NET December 2019 Part A and question number 6. So the question number 6 is, which is the curve in the figure whose points satisfy the equation y is equal to constant multiplied by e to the power x. So 4 options are given and we need to choose which of the curve is the correct option. So first of all, the given equation is y is equal to constant into e to the power x, and the 4 plots are given here. As you can see, the 4 curves A, B, C and D. So these 4 curves are actually presented in different quadrant. Because see, this is the first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third and this is fourth quadrant. So each plot is presented in different quadrant. So we have to actually check this given equation for different values of x. Now another thing which is mentioned here is the constant. Let us suppose the constant is c. Now here there will be two possibilities. First case is c is greater than 0, that is c is positive. And second case is c is less than 0, that is c is negative. So here we have to consider each of the cases separately. So let's do that. So first case is c is positive. Now when c is positive, what will happen is the equation will become y is equal to plus c e to the power x. So let us plot this equation. Now here, as you can see, this is a grid we have drawn. So this is, the constant is plus c e to the power x. So x, the value of x can range from x equal to minus infinity to x equal to 0, that is x equal to minus infinity towards this, to x equal to 0 to x equal to plus infinity. Now here the thing is, since the constant is positive here, so constant positive means the value of y will be definitely positive. So y positive means the plot will be definitely range between this first and the second quadrant. Okay, and we are considering this for when the constant is positive. So for positive constant value, we will check for different value of x from minus infinity to 0 to plus infinity. So let's do that. So when x is equal to 0, y will be equal to plus c e to the power 0. Now e to the power 0 is equal to 1. So this means this will be equal to plus c, basically the positive constant c. So that means when we plot this here, at x equal to 0, y will be something here on this axis. This is the origin, so y will be at some place here in this axis, not towards this, towards positive side. So now when x is the maximum value x can take is plus infinity. So when x is equal to plus infinity, y is equal to plus c e to the power plus infinity. Now e to the power plus infinity is infinity. So infinity multiplied with c is equal to again infinity. So when x is approaching infinity, y will also approach infinity. That is, it will approach infinity towards it. Now the minimum value x can take is minus infinity. So when x is approaching minus infinity, y will be equal to plus c e to the power minus infinity. So we can write this as this is equal to plus c divided by e to the power infinity. Now e to the power infinity is infinity. So c by infinity will be equal to 0. So when x approaches minus infinity towards this side, y will approach 0. So we have the values for different value of x, the value of y we have. So when we plot it, the plot will be something like this. As you can see, at the origin, that is not at the origin, at x equal to 0, y has a positive finite value. When x is approaching infinity, y is also approaching infinity. When x is approaching minus infinity, y is approaching 0. So this will be the plot. Now, the case 2. Case 2 is c is negative. Now here c is negative means y is equal to minus c e to the power x. So again here we'll do the same thing. We'll choose different value of x ranging from minus infinity to 0 to plus infinity and find out what would be the value of y. But one thing we should remember, that the constant here is negative. So here whatever with the value of y, it will be towards this side, towards the negative axis of y. So the plot will be confined in third and the fourth quadrant. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to minus c e to the power 0. Again, e to the power 0 is 1. So this will be equal to minus c. So when x is equal to 0, here y will be equal to minus c, that is a negative constant value. So it will be negative side of y-axis here. On this line, you will get the value of y. Now when x is approaching plus infinity, y is equal to minus c e to the power plus infinity. E to the power plus infinity is infinity, and minus c multiplied with infinity will be minus infinity. So that means when x is approaching x is approaching plus infinity, y will be approaching minus infinity towards this. Again, next is x is equal to minus infinity. So when x is minus infinity, y is equal to minus c e to the power minus infinity. So this we can write as minus c divided by e to the power infinity. E to the power infinity is again infinity. So minus c divided by infinity will be equal to 0. So that means when x is approaching minus infinity, y is approaching 0. So now again when we plot this, the curve will be something like this. So here at x equal to 0, we have a negative finite value on y-axis. At x is in plus infinity, y is approaching infinity. And at x is minus infinity, y is approaching 0. So we have got all the plots. Now what we have to do is we have to compare this plot with the given plot. Because the given plot, there are four in the given image, there are 4 plots are given in different quadrant. So we have to check which of the curve is matching, because what we have done so far is we have for the given equation we have done all possible plot for different range of x and the constant. So now we have to compare this plot with the given image. So this is the image we have in the question. Now here let's do this one by one. Curve A. Here curve A is in the first quadrant. So in the first quadrant, and as you can see here, when x is approaching infinity, y is actually getting a saturated value. But in the nowhere we have a saturated value of y when x is approaching infinity. So that means this curve is not possible. Curve B is when x is approaching minus infinity, the y value is approaching plus infinity. But this is also not the case. When x is approaching minus infinity, y is always tending to 0. So this is also not possible. Curve C. Curve C is here, as you can see, when x is approaching minus infinity, y is approaching 0. Here, when x is approaching minus infinity, y is approaching 0. And when x is equal to 0, y has a negative value. Negative but finite value. So x is equal to 0, y has a negative finite value, and x tending to minus infinity, y is tending to 0. So this plot is actually matching with this region we have. Okay. So here last plot is D. In plot D, we have when x is tending to infinity, y is tending to minus infinity. Now again, here, though this plot seems correct, because here we have got when x is tending to plus infinity, y is tending to minus infinity. That is here. But if you look at the value towards the when x is equal to 0 here, when x is 0, y is also 0, because the curve is starting from origin. But in no way when x is 0, y can never be 0. Y will always have a finite value. That is the value of the constant. So this curve, the curve D, is also not matching because of this reason. So only curve which is matching with the plot of the equation we have done is curve C. Now let us look at the option. So here out of the 4 options, option C, that is the curve C, is the correct match. So answer is option C. Thank you.